Hey, what's up out there in YouTube land, and welcome back to the wonderful world of Rux. It's I, your boy, the Ruxman. Listen, we got it, man. Came in the mail the other day from Amazon, so we're gonna unbox it. The BitFenix Prodigy M Mini ITX and Micro ATX case. Let's get right into it, people. Alright guys, so we're about to dive right into it. Mind you, this will be a partial unboxing because as you can see, the wife was getting it from the delivery guy from, I guess, the USPS, and she kind of ripped it open a little bit, so thumbs down on that. But we'll get into it right now with surgical precision as always. Remember, people, safety first. X-Acto knife. There we go. First cut. Second cut. And then we're in. Alright, first thing we see here when we open up, let's put this X-Acto knife to the side so we don't injure ourselves. This thing is very sharp, so you don't want to leave it uncovered. Is an actual installation guide. Now, let's get a good look at that for you guys so you see exactly. Prodigy M installation guide, just giving you some insight. We'll look into that later. Nothing major with that. Let's get this thing flipped over and right into it. Alright, now for this particular build, we decided to go with a little bit smaller build. Like I said, if you've seen my previous build that I did for myself, which would be the Ruxman's PC build under the white hood, and I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can look at it in comparison. This is going to be a lot smaller than my actual personal build that I use for YouTube and gaming and everything else. Let's just get this out of the bag so you guys get a better look at it. It's a pretty cool looking case so far from what I can see. Looks like we got a little piece right here. It's just hanging off. I don't know how this is gonna work, but it was right there, so I'm guessing it goes right there. So yeah, it's magnetic. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's a magnetized little piece there to block intake from the bottom of the case. So we'll throw this off to the side, flip the case over, and I'm just gonna change the view of the camera so you guys get a better view of the actual case. Okay, so now that we've adjusted the camera, we got everything looking real nice. First things we're going to look at is the features of the case. Now, this case is designed to be a case that you actually travel with and take out with you. That's why it has these little handles right here on both that side and let's see if we get a better look at it, this side right here. So you guys can, you know, easily pick it up. They're really flexible, and they actually have some feet on the bottom as well. I'll turn the case around to the front. Now on the very front of the case, we have a little drive bay where you would put your CD-ROM drive or Blu-ray drive or anything like that. In this particular build, I don't think I'll be using that drive, just to, you know, conserve some space inside of this small actual case. On the top, we have an actual removable dust filter that's, you know, locked by this little sliding thing here, and I'll turn that over to the side so you can kind of see that little latch right there at the bottom. That actually slides. You can hear it click. Slides in and out to unlock that dust filter so you can remove that and clean it to get access to where your fans and everything would go. Now, off to the side, you see a little bit of a I/O, and I'll zoom in on that I/O for you so you guys can see exactly what that is. So now when we get up on it, we have two actual USB 3.0 ports right here, an actual microphone port, a headphone port, a power, and a reset button, which the power is right here, reset is right here. Nothing really special about that. Pretty standard procedure stuff. We turn it around back. We have the actual PCI ports. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is going to come in handy because we know with the modern graphics cards, like we talked about in the previous video with building the computers, they're going to take up 2 of those slots already. We'll probably put a Wi-Fi card in there, and if we wanted to put a second graphics card, we have space for that as well. All right. Down there you have the little cutout hole with the wire hanging out. That's where your actual I/O shield would go for the actual motherboard. We'll get into that while we're building the computer. And directly underneath that is the power supply plug, where you would plug in your actual power supply. So this particular case, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm just going to open up the thumb screws on the back. Let's get into this thing so we can look inside and see, and I'll kind of fast forward to the end of this. Okay, so I've taken the liberty of removing all the thumb screws right now so we can slide the panels off, but I did want to show you the other side. On the other side of the actual case, we have this big windowed display panel where you can display all your inside of your case if you want to look at your graphics cards, the fans, the lights, and everything like that. But just wanted you guys to really see that display window. But this case is fairly small, man. I'm really impressed with how small it is, the size and everything like that. Let's go ahead and start sliding these panels off on the sides. Okay, interesting. Alright, so this is the actual side panel with the side that had the actual power and the reset button with the two USB 3.0s. On the inside of that, you'll see a little bit of a drive cage. It looks like we can hold two actual SSDs right here in these little drive bays right here, and I'll bring that up so that you can see that. Really clever design done by BitFenix to kind of, you know, store away those cables. Also, these would just connect to the actual motherboard to power up the actual that side of the case with the power button and everything like that. So let's put this out of the way and I'll jump into the other side. Now the little pieces on the side where you actually slide off these side windows are a little bit difficult if you don't know what you're doing, because typically you would slide them off, but I'm just going to give you guys a view to see what I'm talking about. Now normally right here on the back of the cage you would just slide it back to pull it off, but that's not how you would do it with this particular case. In this one, you would actually push it forward a little bit, and then it unhinges, then you can take it off. All right, and that's just the actual windowed side. And now we're looking more at the internals of the actual case. So let me adjust this so you get a better view of it and everything, people. Okay, so after you remove the side panels, this is basically what you're left with. Like I said, at the top here we have a removable dust filter. It's a lot easier to remove once you have the sides off. And as you can see here, let me show that to you. Removable dust filter. You see the little switch right here off to the side. It locks it in place. At the top, it looks like we can house two 120mm fans up here that we can put up here for extra cooling, exhausting out of the case, getting that heat out of our case to keep everything properly dissipated. It actually also looks like inside of the case, if you can see right here, there's an included 120mm fan, along with back there to the rear. I'm trying to get a good view of it for you guys. Right back here on the back, they've included another 120mm exhaust fan. Now from what I'm looking at, I'm gonna spin this case around for you guys. If you decide you want to build in this particular case, you're not limited to that 120mm fan, because they do have extra holes here, right here, if you want to put a bigger 140mm fan in the back, which is what I'm thinking I would want to do in this case, and actually, you know, just get a little better airflow with a bigger fan. So I think we will be replacing that. We'll cross that hurdle when we come to it. But other than that, guys, there's not really much else going on. I know the actual power supply on this particular case is going to be a little bit different. Normally, the power supply would rest down here in the bottom of the case. But on the design that they have here, getting back to where that actual power came in from the back already right there without a power supply being plugged in, that's really unique. They have an actual cable, an extension cable, routed throughout the case, and I'm gonna pick up and manually control the camera for this part so you guys can see. Okay, so we've gone ahead and removed the screws from that actual side so we can have a clear look into the windowed side of the panel now. So as you can see, when we put that window back on, it'll just be a clear look right at the motherboard. Now, one other big inclusion that I wanted to mention here is you notice this big square that's cut out right there. That's for the actual motherboard's aftermarket cooler install. So it's a huge cutout. So any cooler we decide to put in, whether it be that radiator that we put up here at the top, an actual liquid cooling solution radiator, which is what I want to do because I don't want to put fans in here all over the place. So if we decide to go with a radiator here at the top, we probably won't have access to the actual CD-ROM tray over here in the front that I showed you guys earlier, where you would put your DVD in. That's why I'm not going to use that, because the radiator would take up that actual space. Plus, no one really uses those anymore anyway. But having that large CPU cutout over here off to the side affords us a lot of options when installing an aftermarket cooler. It looks like we don't have a lot of room on the side of the cage for actual wire management, so that's going to be something interesting to deal with. And I don't see any real rubber grommets or anything like that to route the cables through. But this is a much smaller case, and we're not including as much things in it as we did with our larger case. We got one more thing I forgot. We got this little box that's on that panel we actually removed just a few seconds ago, and we need to get inside of that. And I'll just unscrew this stuff right here. Nice and easy. Ah, the hell with that. Let's just smish it down a little bit and push it out, right? We're not gonna be nice. This professional unboxing at its greatest. Throw that side panel off to the side, and let's dig into this box, see what's going on. Let's get our X-Acto knife and get this going. Alright, so now we're inside of this baby. Now, I know what's already inside there, and a lot of you at home do already too. But for the sake of doing everything in the unboxing, we got to unbox this as well so people can see. So inside of this little box is all the actual materials we'll need for the motherboard. Just different parts that'll help us with putting everything together nice and neat. And we got a little zip tie still in the box. But it looks like they've given us an actual USB, and you can barely see that, but let me see if I can put my hand behind it to make it focus a little better. A USB 3.0 to actual USB 2.0 connector. So this would basically turn the USB 3.0 connection on the board to a USB 2.0 connection so that you could use it the opposite way. But USB 3.0 is backwards compat, so I don't know why you'd want to do that. In this little bag here, we have all the necessary screws that we have for, you know, securing the motherboard down into the actual case. And the rest is pretty much history. Okay, so this is how the actual case looks with that little frame that was right there in the middle obstructing its view removed. We got a little bit of plastic here. I'll take that off for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. It's actually another piece of plastic on the inside, it looks like. But you can see inside the case a lot better now. I'll kind of spin it around for you guys, give you a last final look at it to see what we've been building inside of. That, again, guys, is the BitFenix Prodigy M. Over to the side, one last look at that I/O for you. Okay. And to the rear. There we go. Okay, guys, that's going to just about do it for our actual BitFenix Prodigy M case. There are a couple of things I did forget to leave out. I mean, I did leave out in the actual video. Like at the bottom, this little filter is removable and magnetic. The actual filter, the actual air intake into the case. You can also replace that 120 millimeter fan down there and take that out and mount two 3.5 millimeter hard drives down at the bottom, the regular big hard drives that you're used to seeing. Well, anyway, if you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you have not already done so. Follow us on social media. The links will be down in the description below. And as always, people, slow down, but never stop. Ruxman out. Love you, baby. Mean it.
The wonderful world of Rux.
Crazy mother.